Welcome to another episode of Senor Nerd Podcast. I have here with me Ramon,
Hey,
Raul,
Howdy, howdy.
and today we're going to be doing a quick review of Mario the movie, the latest picture that just came out in theaters. And we are definitely not doing this after doing a Demon Slayer recording. This is we're now wearing the same clothes. This is a different night, so we're not doing a back to back episode. No way. So,
mm-mm.
Raul, Ramon, what did you guys think about the Mario movie? How great was it? How is this gonna get? How many Oscars do you think by next year?
Well, let me just say my favorite part was where Tanjiro went to the hot springs. Oh wait, Mario. Just kidding. No, oh man, freaking! I love the movie, and again, it's not like the preferable criticism I guess that I've been seeing. But again, who cares? Like, go watch it for yourself. I love this movie, man. I think it's just because like I grew up playing these games. Like I came to the United States in '89. I think I had my first Nintendo like in 1990. So since 1990, I've been playing Mario games, and it's just one of those things that, man, if you grew up playing them, even if you played a couple a lot and you enjoyed them, this movie is legitimately like watching like a quick version of a Mario game. It didn't need to be deep like some people criticize. It didn't need to have all these character developments as they criticize, because I think at the end of the day, like, we're there to kind of like, watch a spectacle and have some fun with it. Now they tell me they're doing live action Mario, like, again, I guess. That's a whole different story. Then I want to see some
Mm.
dark and drama and something, but right now it was perfect. Definitely a great movie. Have like really really fun to watch.
Yeah, if they do the live action thing, I want to see what they did in SNL.
Oh yeah.
No, but yeah, like so this movie is a kids movie, and I took my son to see it, and he loved it. So it's kid approved. Uh, and then honestly, it has enough Easter eggs, and especially for people that grew up playing like all the Mario games and all the Nintendo games, really, because it had Donkey Kong too, and it had enough Easter eggs and references to like the games to make it interesting and to kind of be looking out for like, oh, that's because of this, or like, oh, that's interesting that they're doing it this way or whatever. But yeah, like I enjoyed it. I know it's not like an Oscar winning masterpiece, but it's a very enjoyable movie, especially if you played any of the games. But even if you didn't, it's a fine movie that's very enjoyable.
How dare you say this will not get any Oscar nominations? But I'm not gonna sit here and say that this movie was trash, because I think a lot of the critics are doing that to get a lot of clickbait. Because this movie was definitely not hey, don't waste your money. This is garbage. Your kid's not gonna get any enjoyment. Because anybody that tells you that is a liar. If you played any kind of Nintendo game or you grew up with Mario and had some kind of relationship with him as you were growing up, you're definitely gonna enjoy this movie. And similar to Raul, I took my little one to see this, and as a parent, man, I really appreciated how fast the movie moved. It was almost like, hey, we're gonna do you a favor and keep your child entertained for the next hour and a half,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna get you out of here. And I really appreciated that. But the movie lover in me really did think that maybe it did needed some like spacing to like, like, hey, give it some air, like build some of this relationship. And the biggest thing that I can point to, like, back up my point, is when Mario meets Peach. That scene just happened so quick. Like, hey, you're a human. Oh, okay. You're rescuing your brother. Well, if you want to rescue your brother and come with me on this mission, come train with me. And it's like, it just like, come on, man. Like, that could have used like 5 minutes to like better understand this relationship between Peach and Mario. And then maybe they could have gone to the training, but it just moved so quick on that. And that was like my biggest criticism, where it's like, okay, I did understand that in that part, like, they did not give it any air for them to be able to breathe and explain more of the backstory. Again, they were more focused about like, hey, let's get you in here, let's bring you some laughter, some enjoyment, and it did bring me a lot of that. So I did enjoy it in that perspective.
In those scenes in particular, why it kind of did bother me that they weren't like really spending some time in it. And I guess maybe it wasn't appropriate for this movie, but they were kind of trying to dig into like Peach's history, because,
Mm.
it's like, oh, like, where'd you, like, how long have you been here and where'd you come from? And she's just kind of like, I've been here ever since I can remember. Like, my first memory is showing up here. And then, and talking about like how kind of relating to being a human, but she kind of looks up into the sky and she says, well, we all come from somewhere or something like that. So it's like, even that little glimpse right there, you're like, oh my goodness, like that's some like gold that you can like like kind of develop into like a sequel later or something different. So that was one part that I do remember watching it being like, wait, you can't tease me like that and start talking about Peach's like history and where she came from
Mhm.
and then not give me anything. So yeah, there was definitely a couple parts where I definitely also felt. I mean, a lot of the movie needed that, but it didn't
Yeah.
at the same time. So, um,
No, and I
Yeah.
mean, like, yeah, go ahead, Ro.
No, and well, besides that part too, the other big thing that I noticed was the super Italian guy that was playing the game, like
oh, Jumpman.
yeah, Jumpman. Yeah, because I know that the voice actor that did actual the voice for Mario in the games. I knew that he was going to be
Oh,
in the movie, and I'm guessing that's what he was playing. The
gotcha.
Well, I mean, and it's funny because I noticed that right away. Because like, wasn't like Mario's first appearance was in Donkey Kong, and his name in that game was called Jumpman. But then in this movie, they changed the arcade game to Jumpman instead of Donkey Kong. But it's basically the same thing too. And that
Yeah,
super Italian guy was meant to be like the cameo of Jumpman. So it wasn't Mario; it was Jumpman. But still,
yeah,
in real life, that's Mario
yeah,
before he
yeah.
was Mario.
With the other hat, yeah,
Yeah, and I just thought that was so cool. Like it was just like
yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? I don't know. And not to mention, oh, the commercial was pretty good too.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
Because
yeah.
so I mean, I guess that's something that we'll have to address, right? Like everybody was hating on the fact that Chris Pratt wasn't going to
Yeah.
put any effort into this movie as far as like the voice acting and all the stuff in Mario. But I mean, to dig into that right away. I love how they did it with starting
Hmm.
with the commercial. It gave you all the Mario and Luigi that you want with a super like dead on 100% voice accuracy of what Mario and Luigi sound like in the games, but then they brought it back to reality where it wasn't as like exaggerated. But you know
Yeah.
what? Like maybe like a couple minutes into it, I didn't care. It just sounded like
Yeah.
great to me. Like if anything, I had a little bit more problem with Charlie Day because I used to watch like I watched all of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Sorry, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I just couldn't get. That's the one I just couldn't get
Couldn't
out
get
of my
Charlie
head.
Day
Like
out of yeah.
no. Everyone else, even freaking Seth Rogen, did freaking awesome as Donkey Kong, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
I think for me, Bowser, when he was singing, that's when the
Oh
Jack
my
Black
god,
would come
that was
out.
amazing though.
No, those were scenes were really, really good.
Peaches,
Um,
peaches, 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 peaches.
oh, whoa! I don't want to get copyrighted over here, bro.
I'm just
If
saying peaches. No.
I need you to play the Donkey Kong or sorry DK song in a
Oh
bit
yeah.
because to me
Okay.
that part was like really like oh yeah, that part was great for me. But no, going a little bit back to the beginning, like I was not expecting to see Mario's dad or his mom, so
Hmm.
that was kind of cool. And then it's just so funny to me that we have this movie on based on like an Italian little I don't know if he was supposed to be like a 25, 35-year old man still living with his
That's what.
parents, but it's just so funny the idea of like here we are watching this Mario Italian little plumber doing all this agility and crazy things even though he still has like a gut on him. And again, I'm not here to judge the movie because I thought it was really fun. And I like in the
Yes.
beginning how they did that homage to like the first Mario game of him like jumping up the obstacles and like
Yeah.
clearing the path for Luigi. And we see a lot of that later on with different games. But no, that was a really cool like intro for me. Like I like how much we spent in the real world, believe it or not.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it was important to it because like I think if anything that's where you do have a lot of the story, right, is how like you're crossing the universes, I guess. I really like that they did start in the real world in Brooklyn, and then they kind of basically end up in like the what is it called? The magical kingdom. What's the name for the whole thing?
The Mushroom Kingdom or
Well, the whole all of it, because the Mushroom Kingdom was just one part
oh
of that world. But
Yeah.
either way, I mean, just like transitioning there and then ultimately ending kind of back in the human world was like I don't know, really cool. Because then obviously you have like a deeper that there is with the story. It was about them getting legitimate, like becoming legitimate in a way, maybe not as plumbers when they became legitimate in some type of
yeah.
way. Um, that's something that I kind of wish the movie had more of Mario and Luigi. Like
Mm.
man, maybe it's just because I do have my brother and he could be like my little Luigi, or maybe he thinks it's well, no, I am the shorter one. So there you go. But it's like I don't know. I thought it was a really cool like all the scenes in the beginning of their bond, like together, like Mario's definitely like the big brother type.
Mhm.
You're really taking care of him. You saw the Luigi Mansion Luigi where he's just always like afraid and just kind of
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm brave. And it was really cute. So I was really sad
Yeah.
when Luigi got separated and then you missed him for the whole entire movie until the very end again.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, they were trying to play to like Luigi's Mansion. They were trying to like play that
Oh
whole
yeah,
aspect because I mean, I think that is the whole point of those games where Luigi is just portrayed as a scary cat. And
yeah.
to my understanding, those games are great, and I regret that I haven't played one of them because there's three of them, I believe. But that
Mhm.
was also like really cool, and I like how if you're a fan of that game, they gave you the whole like, hey, here's Luigi being a scary cat, and he's going into a mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I will say that was one thing I didn't like is the fact that he disappeared for like such a big part of the movie,
Hmm.
because like I always grew up kind of playing the games, and you could play as Mario or Luigi, or if you play two players, you were as Mario and Luigi, in the ones that you played it with two, or and then other iterations that you played as Peach or whatever. But yeah, like I kind of wish that he would have been part of a bigger part of the movie, kind of throughout the movie, but it was
Yeah.
just on Mario.
I mean, it kind of makes sense because obviously they were at that point trying to develop more of the Mario, like getting
Intellect.
his abilities, or at least learning how to like maneuver through that world.
Yeah.
Which I like that little training session that he had with Peach, and just the
Mhm.
whole fact where that's where they talk about Peach kind of being there since she was little because she was a super pro at it. Which not to
Yeah.
mention, like I definitely want to talk about the very end when she freaking shows some crazy moves. But no, yeah, like I don't know. This movie, I think so thinking about the games, and I know like there could be, like you said, a lot of Easter eggs. There could be a lot of things we could mention, but like I definitely loved all the little elements of, like you said right now, Ro. Like every time that you were able to play as one of the different Mario characters,
Hmm.
they had different abilities that you could do. And I did really like when Peach at the very end of that little obstacle course, she kind of flew with her
Oh,
like dress like flown up, and I'm like, dude, that's so Mario too. Like
Yeah.
no.
that's yeah,
No, that was really cool for me, and I like the fact that they gave her things to do because some
Hmm.
people would say like, "Oh, most of the time you're rescuing Princess Peach,
Yeah.
Mario's rescuing her," but it takes you back to Mario 2 because in Mario 2 that was my favorite character. The whole flying around made her really useful, and everybody else to me was like garbage compared to her. So it's like, yeah, give her all the love, and something that's interesting. People that might not know this is that Mario 2 was not meant to
oh
be
yeah,
like a Mario game. That's actually something where it was a separate game. And then they substituted like the original characters for that game with Mario characters. And it works really, really well, man. And I would love for them to even reference Mario 2 by bringing some of these rat characters into it later
hmm
on, hopefully. But that's something that, again, it's just like wishful thinking. And I know now this movie is going to make over, probably a lot of money. They will probably throw more ideas out there. Just how they threw in the penguins. I want to see more of these like red characters also come to the big screen.
that's you're a nerd. No, I knew that little thing about the Mario 2 game, but that's actually one of my more enjoyable ones for that reason. Like
Yeah.
even as Toad too, and like picking up the little onions or the little beets and throwing them. But no, yeah, yeah.
No, and like the star was so freaking funny, man. Like to me,
Oh,
that
what
was
was
also
that?
that was a Mario Galaxy reference for
Oh.
Oh,
Rosalina has like that star. I don't know if that's like maybe a different star
Ruma,
or the
yeah.
same star because I never played those games, so I
Yeah,
couldn't
then I
tell you.
never played Galaxy.
But I know that Rosalina has that star or a
I don't know
similar
who that
looking
is.
one.
Yeah,
She's
Luma.
she's like a princess copy, but looks a little bit different. She's a
Oh,
galaxy
okay.
princess, I suppose is the way to put it down.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
did like how dark it was because I think every parent would always laugh at like all the reference, like all the jokes she would make about like just bring me dad or the dad will be
Yeah.
the sweet relief. So
I,
it
I
I
was
know. I
just
was
super
like, oh my
funny.
I
god.
remember I was watching it and I'm like, man, if I could just like freaking remember this so I could quote it during like when we record, because yeah, it was so hilarious and it was just like so exaggerated. Sorry, like, and then bouncing back is one little tidbit that I never knew, that freaking Princess Peach's like
Oh, I know the
bangs
heart.
were a
Yeah.
heart. I
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
knew that.
I never caught
And
it
I
either.
went back and I looked at like game designs and stuff from the other ones, and she's always had that. And I'm like, really? Like,
Yeah,
thank you, movie. You
Eh,
taught me something new. That's the one thing that
Is
I learned.
I never caught
is
it
it a
either.
heart or is it a peach shape? Like that also kind of makes me
No, it's a
wonder.
Well,
heart.
they
It's a heart.
I'm like, well, they said hard, but I didn't even notice
Yeah.
either way though. Like going back to thinking about her, I'm like, yeah, I guess I never really thought about it. And then I went back and I'm like, it's a straight up heart. Like, what the heck?
Yeah. No, man, and like I still kind of reference already. Like I like the DK part maybe because of the way that his introduction was hyped up, man. But I
Mhm.
really like that because he like honestly, the Donkey Kong games were like a big part of my childhood. Those games
Yeah.
were super fun, really good, really hard on a level, especially when you're a child and you're dealing with
Mm.
like difficult levels and dying and falling off
Mhm.
the as you're running
The
those coal
carts.
carts, the coal carts,
Yeah.
and even Mario 64, which is one of my favorite games, and I don't
Mhm.
think I ever beat it because of how difficult it was. Like I really like all the reference, and then I appreciate it every time I would see like Diddy Kong, and then
I know.
the girl that could fly with the hair, and I was just like, show me more of these DK characters because like I might not remember their names right now, but I always do remember them from the game. So I just wanted to keep seeing like the whole family.
Well, at least they
Yeah.
had Crank. I like that Cranky Kong was like a big part of it, because he is pretty funny in the games too. Like he's always crabby. He's always like hitting them with the stick. So
Mhm.
that's another one too. Like you said, Donkey Kong games like have like a different type of also feel to them too, and it's a kind of almost more funny, more comical, more silly because
Yeah,
yeah, you introduce like Diddy Kong and I think Dixie or whatever her name is, and they're always doing weird
yeah,
stuff. You had the surfer gorilla. Remember him? Like
yeah.
Oh.
such like cool characters. So I don't know if they'll ever do more with that, but
I gotta applaud them for holding back and not putting Donkey Kong riding like a rhino, like because that would have been obviously like really
Oh
epic to see.
yeah.
So I'm like, man, they actually held back by not doing something like that. Maybe for his own movie, they're thinking, but yeah, that would have been really cool.
No,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, I could definitely see Donkey Kong kind of having a spinoff and doing his own thing, and then there was a few things that I did notice. So, or I guess you guys can comment on this. Were there any Smash Brothers references during the Donkey Kong Mario thing? Because I know you guys played a lot more Smash Brothers than I did, but like
I,
I didn't really get any. I know that I did get kind of references kind of from the Jumpman thing because it was like
yeah,
the
uh,
platforms and stuff.
yeah, the platforms
yeah.
were kind of like the ones from that, and he was
I
obviously
mean,
throwing the barrels, but
I mean, if it was meant to be a reference, I would just say the stage where like Donkey Kong and Mario fought, the way it was like the sign, the level design, and falling, and that would kill you. But other than that, like no, I don't think I really caught anything
No,
related to Smash Brothers.
and that's like a
okay,
weird like I think people want that like to ultimately Nintendo have like its own little universe and develop these movies and ultimately end up with Smash Brothers. But I don't think they're even thinking about that yet in a sense. I didn't see any elements of that in this
No.
movie. But that was a
But
really cool scene though. It was
but
pretty great.
but that's the great thing though, man, about Mario. I mean, Nintendo taking finding another chance and bringing their character to the
Yeah.
big screen because
mhm.
like they just have so many licenses to so many things. Like, dude, if they like this is probably like for like really hard gamers, but if they were to announce like a Fire Emblem game, though, like I would fucking like piss shit my pants because I would be like,
Piss shit your
fuck
pants.
yeah. Both things, dude. I would do a number uno and number two at the same time because I would be like Fire Emblem on the big screen. You're fucking with me, but yeah, dude. Like it just opens this.
Is that the one with like Roy and the sword people?
Yes, that's with them, and like it's again, and it could be a very fun thing to have those things, but again, that's probably like 10, 15 years down the line when we finally get like a Metroid Prime and Donkey Kong and all these other
Star
more well-known
Fox.
Yeah.
properties. Star Fox, hell yeah, dude, hell yeah,
Yo,
Star
I mean,
Fox.
you haven't even mentioned my one. I would get a total nosebleed if they made anything Zelda related. Like everybody also wants
Oh,
Zelda,
dude,
and
everybody
that's a
would.
crazy
And
one too. But that's
is
nosebleed.
is is that because you're horny for Link?
No,
uh, but
don't uncover me.
Carlos, don't you have a Zelda tattoo?
I do not have a Zelda tattoo. Ooh, no, but my
Ooh,
daughter does have a reference in her name to Zelda.
yeah.
Don't say it. But no, definitely, man. Like again, the sky's the limit as far as like now that this movie's successful. Hopefully, they do trust other studios to do their work because this idea of like the people behind Despicable and Secret Life of Pets continuing to these movies, I think that could
Illumination.
hurt. Illumination could hurt the franchise. So that's why one thing that it's like, hey, maybe pass on some of the love to some of these other studios. Like I would be not upset if somebody more well known would take a chance.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though. Like, since Illumination already has it, like it's not gonna go to a different studio. Like, and Illumination does have like they have had good movies. Like Sing, I loved. The second one was not quite as good as the first one, but it was good. The first Secret Life of Pets was good. Second one kind of went down. I they're not great with sequels,
Yeah.
but like they do have some good like original
What
movies.
Well, I don't like what this thing where like DreamWorks and Illumination do, where it's like, hey, remember all these movies we've done? Like,
Yeah.
here's all of them, and DreamWorks doing the same thing with like Trek and all these old ass movies. It's like, okay, dude, like, calm down. Like, I know you exist. Like, I know you've been around. You don't need to throw this shit in my face.
No, but
uh,
I do like the fact that they say like, "Hey, the studio that brought you these movies." It was like, "Oh, okay," because the big thing is like Disney
yeah,
is so like differentiated from all the other animation studios that like Disney and Pixar, even Pixar is kind of like differentiated from the regular Disney animation. That like all the other animation studios, they'll kind of like blend together. Whether it's Sony, whether it's DreamWorks, whether it's Illumination, or or or, or whoever who's the ones with the lamp.
Pixar.
it's a.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
they don't have Jack Black, so
let me do a little bit Shark Tank here, and
oh no.
one of you can buy my idea, the other one can pass on it, or both of you can bid on it. But how would you guys like, in this example, a Zelda movie, but it's done by the people behind um the studio behind Kubo, and that's the Leica studio, and it's a stop
Ooh,
motion animation with Zelda in it. Like, how would you
stop
guys like that?
motion.
That would be
Yeah.
great, but just from being a freaking Zelda fanatic, it would have to be like more Majora's Mask. Like one of the
Mm,
games that's a little bit more of a creepy element, and that's definitely the
yeah.
game that's like a little bit weird, especially when he's putting on the mask. It's very like contorted, like there's kind of weird movements like that.
Mhm.
Like I'm thinking of Pinocchio, and I'm thinking of
Yes,
that, dude. That
yes.
would be beautiful, but it
Guillermo
has to
del
be like
Toro.
something more like yeah.
And I'm only saying that because, like, if you notice now in the next coming years, anytime there's an animated film, and Ramon, I know you wanted to talk about the Ninja Teenage Mutant Turtles,
Oh, dude,
whatever.
that looked
The
gorgeous.
if you look at the design, if you look at the design of Puss in Boots, like they're all doing like a Spider Verse different approach. Like, let's stop
Yeah.
just doing flat out CGI. Let's bring another level to it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, let's
Oh
just
yeah.
not get with the boring formula. Let's make it a little bit creative.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying like, hey, let's make 100% Link movie in this way. I'm just saying like I would want them to take more of a different design and more risk. And I don't know
Mhm.
if Illumination's ready to start doing that.
But I do love that idea because even and again, I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick with Zelda because I feel like that's a perfect franchise. Because like, with depending on the games, I feel like you could have different animation like approaches to it. Like something
Mm-hmm.
like Twilight Princess, that's kind of like a little dark and it has like the wolf link and stuff like that. Could be done by a studio that maybe does something darker and more grim. Like even Tim Burton could do something crazy in general, like directing or and all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I like that idea. Like it makes it more interesting and more fascinating to kind of follow instead of just seeing the same animation studio making the same thing with like slightly different stories, you
Dude,
know?
dude, and the moment they make a Link, so sorry, not to get off too much of the Mario thing, but like just this last thought. The moment they make a Zelda movie and they decide to not make Link talk throughout the whole movie,
Mm.
once the end credits hit
Yeah,
for that movie,
yeah,
I
yeah.
will have I will do a 20-minute standing ovation applauding the fact that Link said like not one word throughout that whole movie because that would be freaking awesome.
But you know what?
Besides, yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
but you know what? Compared to Donkey, Bravo, and do you play Zelda games that much? You don't even know how freaking frustrating it is. Like when that topic comes up, like I don't want to hear Link. I don't want to hear Link talk. Like the second that we hear Link talk, it's gonna destroy my dreams. It's either gonna be like a super big letdown or even worse letdown. Because there's just like Carlos, that's what you're alluding to. There's sometimes that you have these characters that are so like well known for just being silent, and that's part of the
Mhm.
demeanor and their persona. And then Donkey Kong was different, right? Donkey Kong was
Yeah.
goofy to begin with, and he was kind of silly. And so when Seth Rogen jumped on that opportunity, I'm like, hey, heck, whatever. Like, at this point, give me someone, and if you're gonna make them talk as goofy and make them laugh even goofier, I'll take it. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
with Link, yeah, absolutely. If they ever make a movie, I think that would be the biggest criticism for anyone would be whether he's gonna talk or not.
No,
But
and
man,
I would say that they should probably treat it maybe kind of like a joke, and have like a super iconic voice, either like the either Morgan Freeman, or like or the dude that did that played the Tick, or like
Uh,
one of those super like recognizable voices or
yeah.
whatever, where like he just starts talking, and then like somehow they make some sort of joke, and then it really wasn't Link, and then it
Yeah.
like goes to a
it was
different
all a
persona or
dream.
whatever.
No, I mean, he has the fairy that's always like following him, so that's how you can make always do the talking, so the
Yeah.
Link doesn't have to do it. And I would say you can even if somebody like somebody wanted to do like Grand Theft Auto City with the original one of the original characters, so he also never talked throughout the whole game. That approach to it, man, because it would be very interesting to follow this character that's like he's your leading man, but you never hear him just talk, like he's just following orders, or other people are building the world on
Yeah,
his
yeah,
behalf. That
yeah.
no, I'm
well,
talking
well,
Grand Theft Auto, so you would have to be like
no.
pow pow
Yeah.
pow
So,
pow.
if you guys can think on the spot, what movie's done something like that? Because
That's what I'm saying. I can't
I
think
immediately
of
thought of
any.
Hardcore Henry.
Drive. I mean, well, Hardcore Henry was like super action, though. I'm talking about
Yeah.
something that, well, I mean, I guess Zelda was not like super action, but like Drive kind of did that where he didn't talk a lot,
Very
Yeah.
quiet. Yeah,
and it would have to be
and
like that minimal, like, or
and
less.
and even dude, John Wick, we just saw he spoke 300 words in that whole movie, and you don't even think about it because the movie was just so freaking good, and we already know so much about the world, and every other character is building it up for you. But
Mhm.
again,
So
this
what you're telling me though is let's dye Keanu Reeves' hair blonde, let's bleach his hair blonde, let's give him a sword and then like a green tunic and say, "Do it, let's go."
And teach him
and
to say, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
then we'll kill the fairy in the first 5 minutes of the movie, so he has
yeah,
motivation.
sounds good to me.
uh,
um, I was gonna
but no,
say,
yeah, man.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
No, I
no,
was just gonna take one of us, guys, one of us at a time. But
well, I was gonna also take us back to the movie. I'm like, at least if we
yeah,
want to get to the point where we were talking about towards the end, like at least things that were really enjoyable. I
Yeah.
did want to mention definitely Peach's, like
I
fight
was gonna
scene.
say that.
Okay, I'll let you go. But Peach's
No,
fight scene.
I was just gonna say it was cool that her dress turned blue. That's my big.
I
Wow, so underwhelming way to take that.
let it
Absolutely.
go,
When,
let it go.
yes, when she took the ice flower, dude, she became like an even more badass. Like I've never seen her like that, but I was thinking, give me that game and I'll play it. Like I mean, I
is
played Mario Odyssey. Wait, no, yeah, Odyssey.
is is that something in one? It has to have been done in one of the games now, right? Like an ice flower. I'm assuming. I can only
Od-
assume.
Odyssey is the last one I played, and honestly, I
I
can't
played
remember it.
Odyssey,
Yeah, and I
but
don't remember that.
but Odyssey was more about the hat. So like
Yeah.
there wasn't like you could grab a flame flower in that
But that's
game.
what I'm saying. I don't remember it, but that was. I mean, that again, that was something. Whether it was new or not, but it's forgotten and we just didn't remember. But that was good. I mean, that just made me think. Like, give Peach a game, tell her origin story in that game, and I'm down. Like, I'd totally be down to
Yeah.
play it. She was so freaking badass.
No, and they reference even like Baby Mario, which I thought it was kind of
Ah,
cute
that
that
was
they
Oh
did
cute.
yeah.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
Joshi, I'm like, man, I'm like,
I
props to them. Another one where they decided not to put him in the movie. Like, I'm
until the
like, that would
very
have been
end.
they, they they they
that would have been a
casted
big
somebody to
seller.
voice him, didn't they?
I
They
don't
what?
recall.
I think they cast somebody to voice him too,
Well, I mean the
like
post
in the
credit
original
scene,
announcement.
the post credit scene was Joshi's egg. So ultimately,
Yeah,
that's what they're alluding is that Joshi will be in the next one. So I
yeah.
that's
The
another
fact
character that is he gonna talk? Like, I mean,
the
like,
fact that you guys stayed till the end credits to see that makes me a little bit laugh inside. But
well,
again, you
Well, I
guys
didn't know
love
what
this
it
movie.
was. I told
I
my
So no,
son about it.
I think me and Kiara were one of like two other groups, and everybody like
Yeah.
laughed right away, and I'm just like, oh my god, you're missing like the best part, and then to see like the 2 second scene of Joshi's egg, I'm like,
Hmm.
it's worth it.
no, man, but I mean, again, my final thoughts on it is like Bowser was great, the whole cast was great, the movie moved really fast. I really liked the ending with the star, even though the star, like, what it made sense once they touched the star, what would happen. I don't know why in my head I thought he was gonna actually build up to being like Super Mario, which Super Mario by Super Mario I'm talking about like Super Mario 3 where he has the cape and he can fly, which they kind of alluded to that in the
Yeah,
movie where he was
yeah,
wearing the cape.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I thought he was gonna touch the star and like all of a sudden actually be like Super Mario and like have really strong powers, which instead they went the route of like touching the star and it makes you invisible for this amount of time, which I don't know. I mean, I liked it, but I
Well,
also kind of feel
that's
now.
what the star does.
I know that's why I'm like it kind of makes sense, but it's not really that star. It's more of like that you hit it and it's just you catch it and then yeah,
Well, I mean, the feather's the one that gives you the cape, but like the what is it called, the raccoon one, the tanuki like thing.
yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, but he turns into a statue, and then like enemies don't
Oh
see you, and they
yeah,
I was wanting to see that. Like I was wanting for
you're
him to just
right.
turn into the
Which one?
statue and just be like. So the one outfit that he did wear, the raccoon one, the
Yeah.
tanuki one. So he has an
Oh, he
ability in
does
that
the
game
thing.
that he no that he just turns into a statue and he becomes gray and he just stands there and then enemies just walk
People
past
can
him.
pass by you.
I
That's
don't remember
right,
that.
man.
Bro, I need you
What
to
game
go
is that
back and
with?
bust out Mario 3.
I don't
Man,
remember that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
I need you to dust out your Super Nintendo and get back to it, man.
No, it's true, man. Like, a lot of games are being remade, and if Mario like 2 or 3 were to be like one of them, Super Mario World, like I think I would go back and start playing these, man. Especially like I think Super Mario World was like the fourth one, right? Super Mario 3 is the one that's very loved, and that one I
Well, three
feel
was
like
good.
well, 3 I feel like I got cheated out of because people right away told me the secret to like go to the last level. So I feel like
Oh
I've
yeah,
never really played.
to get the flutes.
Yeah, because I've never really played that
Oh
game because
no.
I've always have skipped like the middle level. So it's like, how can I say that that's one of my favorite or I beat that game when I've technically cheated on my way to
Every
the
single
very
time.
last?
Yeah.
Yeah, every single time because it's so impossible. Honestly, it's really, really fucking hard to do the
Well, it's
middle ones.
long,
Yeah, yeah. You
but
know.
yeah. Well, because I grew up with like every console. Like I had two different versions of Atari, and then I had the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and 64. So like but like I didn't really do much after the 64 Nintendo wise.
Yeah.
But like now my son has a Switch. But
Uh,
yeah, the Mario's I kind of fell off kind of after Mario
uh,
64.
Atari, bro. I didn't know you were rich growing up. Oh
I didn't know you were
boy.
that old, man. Once you
No,
get older
no,
than me,
no.
once you get that older than me.
My stepdad was a gamer, dude. I even had a Jaguar. You know what a
Oh, ooh,
Jaguar is?
yeah, yeah.
The car? Damn, dude, you are
No,
rich.
no. Like the Atari disc console.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was trying to compete with the PlayStation and Dreamcast.
yeah.
No. Well, if anybody has actually, I know this was a Mario review, but if anybody has actually enjoyed this little segments of like our gaming history and how much, we know about gaming, because we're actually big, big gamers, let us know, man. Scream at us like, hey, we want a gaming episode. We want you to talk about this. Scream it at us like really, really loud because
Record an audio
because
message and send it to us.
because I would die to talk about Mass Effect. That's the one game that I'm gonna throw out there. Like I cannot wait to talk about Mass Effect with people that actually want to hear me talk about Mass Effect.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll,
you guys
I'll,
heard me.
I'll
I'm
talk about
Zelda.
Ogre Battle or Zelda 64 games.
Bro,
The
you go back. So now I know your secret. You're like
Ogre Battle 64 was
Go play
yeah.
Pong.
no, like bro was actually recording in like his closets, but then when he steps out of it, it's like a beautiful mansion that he's probably living in. I know, I got you, bro. I know your secret now. All right, well, this has been Carlos, and I'm signing off. Have a good night, Ro, rich boy, Ro.
But poor man Ramon.
All right, well, you guys have a good night, and I will talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
But